I made this kingdom, and I'll break it. Heroes after my throne. Traitors, all of you. You dare come for my crown. You dare to usurp me. Armello will always be mine.
Hey everybody, welcome back to TwitchCon. Spamfish and I are here to bring you another game. This one's called Armello, and we have Darcy here, the community manager, to tell us about it. Darcy, you say you wear many hats though, so take us through all your involvement in this game.
So I was QA lead over launch, and I've done a lot of sort of design work in amongst it. We're very open, an open small team, so a lot of the design is just like a jam and arguments, just like that the studio erupts and people like lots of fingers pointing, but we always reach a good result in the end.
Who has the conch? They must speak.
The conch.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's. I wish we had a system like that. It might be slightly more efficient.
Well, I'm glad you mentioned design, because I think the art and the design of this are the first things that caught my eye. It's such a beautiful game. It's so emotionally evocative right off the bat, and you guys have some amazing inspirations. What brought you to this fantasy animal realm?
So, I mean, like, we're big sort of fans of old fairy tales and creating that sort of really interesting sort of narrative. And I mean, fans of Redwall, and we just think that there's something, it strums sort of your nostalgia strings, if you will. And that's something that was really important that we did, essentially. So that's, it was sort of iteration over iteration, and our art team is incredibly talented. Our art director, Ty Carey, is amazing.
You can see just how beautiful it is. Obviously, it's very evocative of like real animation styles. You know, I'm sure there's films and people will associate this with. But you know, how tough is it to make something so beautiful yet so mechanically? You know, this is a tabletop game that you play as a video game that looks like an animation. It's like, it seems like quite a tough meld to make.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's we just want to make those really special moments. Like, we want this sort of technical excellence of interaction of mechanics, but we also want it to be beautiful, and we want these tales to erupt from gameplay.
So sorry, I was going to say, can you tell us actually a little bit about the gameplay and how we're going to approach this game?
Sure. So it's very much a digital board game. So all of the items and the spells and the diplomatic plays all take place through card play. And those cards are communal, so it's not a deck builder. If we're playing together, then we would all be drawing cards from these decks right here, and we'd all have access to the same cards, essentially. And all of the combat is all dice-driven. So your fight stat dictates how many dice you have in combat, and that sort of, battle. I'll get into a battle in just a moment. Maybe I'll just mess with this King's Guard.
So why are they battling? Who is battling, and why are they fighing? Because in a board game, I think there's multiple people coming into a board game.
Yeah. So the idea is that you're a representative of one of the major clans. So currently, I'm playing as Gore of the Bear Clan, and you're trying to save the kingdom of Armello. So the king has gone insane, and he's no longer fit to rule. So you're all fighting amongst each other to try and take the throne. It's like Game of Thrones meets Kung Fu Panda, essentially.
Oh my God,
that's what we say.
I'm sold. That's it. That's great.
So let's take a look at this combat. So as soon as you initiate combat or combat happens, you get taken to this screen. I'm so not equipped to deal with this guy right now. I instantly regret my decision.
And you mentioned the fact that, you know, these different clans, and they're represented by different animals.
Yes. So there's the bear clan, the rat clan, the wolf clan, and the rabbit clan, and they are like the major clans within the land. So we have this sort of this deep-seated lore as well as it just being a board game. Like, you know, every time you play, you start again, but the outcomes are sort of limitless in that regard. So you get a different fairy tale every time, essentially.
Oh, wow.
And is this cooperative in the sense where you're trying to work with others to take over this Mad King's throne, or you want to personally claim this for your clan?
Well, that's an interesting sort of feature of the game, I guess, is that there can only be one winner, but there are fleeting allegiances that occur all throughout the game. So it'll be like, oh, we'll work together and get him, and he's like, no, we're already working together, and backstabbing and that tabletop diplomacy is a big part of how the game operates. And we really leaned into that as consciously. So a lot of the cards force players to be in agreements that they might not even want to be in, to sort of change your feelings about allegiances and that sort of stuff.
And that's a really dynamic system, I imagine. The fact you kind of have to make compromises, you might not want to do something, and you mentioned Game of Thrones, obviously, and that adds a whole much more dynamism to the world. Yeah,
well, it's kind of this extra external level of gameplay that's kind of special. We really wanted that sort of tabletop feel and those tabletop sort of conversations. And
yeah.
Well, and obviously, you're not able to attack the king directly right off the bat. You've got to go and build up and do stuff. So how do you move around the map before you prepare to attack?
So generally, the short-term goals when you start a game is to pursue your quest line. So your quest line, you have choice in how your character progresses and what you do on your journey. So you get this narrative where you're completing these this branching narrative of quests, essentially. But it also determines your build, so your character will progress in different ways, and you have control over that. So it's kind of like our version of, you know, buying items in a MOBA, essentially.
And you do a lot of stuff with your Twitch stream right here, and there's loads of cool things people can do if they watch and subscribe. Yeah, well, that's a big thing for us at the moment. That's why we love being here at Twitchcon, is we stream ourselves 3 times a week, and we play Armello with the fans and people that like our game. But because we're the developers of the game, we've implemented content that people get in Armello if they subscribe to our Twitch channel. Wow.
And that's we're really sort of happy about that. The fact that we can sort of push that. It seems to be like quite a new thing for developers to get sort of...
Very pioneering.
Yeah, well, I hope so. I hope so. I feel like in the future we will see a lot more of this stuff. I think that lots of developers will be streaming in-house. And it's really important that we're in the sort of the front of that wave. So these dice that I'm rolling with at the moment are Twitch dice. You get them for subscribing to our Twitch channel.
I love them. They're so purple.
Which is, it's the League of Geeks, twitch.tv/League of Geeks.
And Twitch is almost a League of Geeks. Like, there's a lot of us here and we all love our games.
Yeah,
so.
that's it.
And there's some DLC that's just been released recently.
That's it. So the trailer that we just saw at the start of the segment is the DLC pack. So the heroes that are involved in this match, we're using the 4 new heroes that are part of this new paid DLC pack. And they're really interesting. So Gore is kind of this like happy-go-lucky bear who didn't necessarily want to get involved, but he's imbued with this incredible power which makes him turn into an ent creature when he enters forests. This is Sargon. He's a dark seer, and he can sort of see through the veil, essentially. So you see him sort of bamfing around because he's sort of stepping through corridors that not others have access to. And he draws all of his cards face up. That's his hero power. And Alicia has been referred to as the Trump rabbit because she builds fortifications. She builds walls around settlements.
R.I.P. Twitch chat. Obviously, you know, the art style is we've already mentioned, but it's beautifully drawn, beautifully illustrated. Obviously, there's some Studio Ghibli references, it seems like, and all kind of other references as well.
Yeah.
It's something that really makes the game more evocative and, you know, becomes much more of a fairy tale because of the way it looks.
Well, that's it. I mean, the visuals sort of guide the narrative, right? And for us, it's kind of the thing where you know in D&D or even like MMOs, you have those glorious stories of maybe you're raiding for 8 hours and then you finally kill that boss. Like we really want to evoke those special moments and to have a living, breathing world like this with sort of assists those stories coming to life.
Well, it sounds like you've built a wonderful community around this game, and it definitely has taken on a life of its own. Remind us again, like, where we can tune in and watch you guys, where we can follow you and interact with you guys as this game expands.
Well, yeah, I mean, if you contact us through any of our platforms, whether it be Twitter, Facebook, which is like League of Geeks or Armello Game or at Armello Game, we always get back to everyone and we like to interact with them. Well, generally, I'm getting back to you directly. But twitch.tv/League of Geeks, and that's where you can find us. We'll be there a couple of times a week, 3 times a week.
All right, Darcy, anything else you want to share with us?
I don't know. I don't really have any secrets. I wish I had something
Tell us all
super
the
exciting.
secrets. New heroes, new expansions.
Well,
I mean, this is the most recent one. It just came out. You guys need to take a break now.
No, we never break. I guess that's worth saying is we update the game every 2 to 3 months for free. Like we want to create this living, breathing community and support them and work with them. So yeah, it's always growing anytime you check in. So there's always new stuff to uncover.
All right, unbelievable. Thank you for bringing this game to us. Twitch, I hope you enjoyed that. We'll be bringing you a